Jake, and welcome back to another episode of Comics Off My Wall. And today we are into the second of the limited series, the X-Men, boom, versus the Avengers. And this is the second comic, just to really give a quick overview of the first one in this series. Everybody hates Magneto, everybody's after Magneto. Magneto had a base, part of that base has plummeted to Earth, and Magneto, who before this point, I actually think it's the first 4 or something, Magneto had an asteroid M, it was his base. And I'm not going to go through the whole first one, go check that one out, but basically the X-Men were protecting him from any judgment from the stuff that he had done, because he had kind of vowed to be a good guy. And the Avengers were coming after Magneto because they want him to face trial. And then there were the Soviet superheroes, which are just there to kill Magneto. And the kind of, the way that it kind of works is the Soviets just want to kill. The Avengers are not okay with the kill, but they want him to go to court. And the X-Men don't want anybody taking a mutant anywhere. Because what was really cool about this is I was like, what is the motive of the X-Men to protect Magneto after this point where he's threatened, he's killed, he's tortured? I mean, this guy is as bad as you can get. The whole point is he's a mutant. I never really thought of that. When you look at the Avengers, none of these guys are mutants. He got his powers by a shot. His is a suit. His just his bow and arrow and stuff. Like, the reason that the mutants in the Avengers are the X-Men and the Avengers don't really mix is because they believe that prejudice come from everywhere. Like Magneto thinks humanity hates the mutants, the X-Men are kind of on board with that, thinking, look, even though he's Magneto, there's not a court in the world that's actually going to look at the things that have happened to Magneto and give him a fair trial. And Rogue is the one that points out to everybody, like, what are you going to do if you actually capture Magneto? All he's going to do is destroy and kill a lot of people. Let's try to find a simpler route. So that's pretty much where we're at here in the second one. And what Magneto has done is the Avengers went ahead and let the X-Men take Magneto away. They knew that between the Soviets and between the Avengers and the X-Men all fighting over Magneto at once, somebody's just going to get killed. So the Avengers actually hold up the Soviets so that the X-Men can get away with Magneto. And they do get away with Magneto. And what's really cool is, obviously the X-Men aren't bad guys. Obviously, for whatever reason, they have a very good reason that they're protecting Magneto. And Captain Marvel, who's a woman, she's able to go invisible and go on their Blackbird while they're talking. And they're able to see between the conversations with Wolverine and Storm that, one, Wolverine's going, why are we protecting him? What are we doing actually? And you see Storm saying, look, he's a mutant like us. We have to be the ones to protect him, because nobody's going to offer that olive branch to Magneto. We have to be the ones to bring it peacefully. And Captain Marvel, she hears that, and she kind of lets it go. And Magneto, through this whole time, you're not really sure. He's trying to get to his base. A big chunk of his asteroid had fallen into a lake. That's why I didn't really know where it had fallen, because it fell in water. So there wasn't a big destruction when it fell. And through the whole time, he's talking to himself like, I hope my stuff is intact. This was my main part of my base. I have to destroy it and make sure that no other mutants come and use the stuff on his base against humanity. That's what he's telling the X-Men. Because the X-Men at first, after they get him away from the Soviets and the Avengers, tell him, look, you need to just stay still. You need to just stop. The Avengers, they'll take care of your base. Just stop. And Magneto's like, look, I'm going to do this with or without you. And he does. He takes off. So he raises, Magneto's like at the lake. He uses his power. It's kind of like Luke Skywalker pulling his X-Wing out of the out of the swamp there in Dagobah. But anyway, he takes out his big metal base. He goes into the base, and you see that he's actually laying charges. Like, he's putting explosive after explosive after explosive, but he comes across his old helmet. In the first one, he wasn't wearing his helmet. His helmet was on asteroid M. So you see him open up the door to where his outfit is, just kind of like my helmet. And he puts the helmet on. He goes outside of the asteroid. He's about to blow everything up. He's about to put it back down in the water. And the Avengers show up. They don't know what he's doing. It looks like he's resurrecting his base. So obviously the Avengers attack him. But at a distance, Storm decided we need to turn around. Even if he's going to take off, we just need to watch what he's doing. So they turn around, and the Avengers are attacking, right? And Magneto's sitting there trying to tell him, like, look, you need to back off. I'm holding this. There's charges on here. And nobody hears him say that, and he gets knocked off of his feet. And at some point, check this out, it explodes. That asteroid, with all of those charges, like, from the panels that I saw, we're talking about a massive explosion. So what does Magneto do? Magneto, of course they're superheroes. Of course Wolverine wouldn't have been killed. But there's some of these guys that maybe if some shrapnel from that huge asteroid being blown up with how many charges, it could have killed somebody. So when that explodes, he finally gets their attention saying, look man, I've put like 300 bombs on this thing. You need to stop fighting right now. Go get to safety. But they don't do that. So Magneto uses his magnetic field and he saves everybody. It's a huge blast. It's kind of like in X-Men 2 when the dam breaks and Phoenix uses her power to protect all of the X-Men and the birds so that they can fly away. It's kind of like that. So here Magneto still, even though he's got his helmet, even though he's being treated like a villain, when the Avengers showed up and saw that he's sitting there levitating the asteroid, that's what they call him. They say, put it down, you villain. But he's sitting there going, I'm trying to do the good thing here. And they're spitting in his face. But it's just a lot of confusion. And what eventually ends up happening, like I said, the explosion happens, Magneto is able to save everybody, and the X-Men slip away with Magneto, right? So the Avengers are still kind of trying, they know that the X-Men and Magneto are having issues, that this is causing major problems among them, because there's one of the Avengers who's kind of like a Doctor Strange. Like, he's able to use magic, and he's like Captain Marvel was in the Blackbird while Wolverine and them were talking. Now this magician is in there. He's cloaked himself, and he's heard them talking. And here's what Wolverine says that I love. First Magneto's sitting there saying, like, hey man, I'm a good guy now. I blew it up. Didn't you see me blow it up? And Wolverine's like, hey bub, what do you got that helmet for? If you're a good guy, what did you need to grab your old, horrible, mind-blocking, because that's what that's for. It's to make sure that Xavier can't penetrate and control him. No mind control can happen with this helmet on. If he's a good guy, what does he need that for? And that's what Wolverine is saying. And that's luckily what one of the Avengers hiding on the plane hear him say. So he's going, I'm going to let this play out. Hopefully they don't find me here. Hopefully the X-Men don't find this Avenger on their plane. And that's where we're left off. There's kind of dissension. The Avengers are more just kind of monitoring the situation. But this is really, I love that this one was called The Temptation of Magneto. So that is the whole thing, and just my thoughts of it is that I love that, like I said, it's called The Temptation of Magneto because he's slowly realizing the world still thinks he's a villain. He's tried to kill thousands of people. He's actually killed thousands of people. He's tortured people, like I said. He's basically done stuff that if it went to court, nobody's going to excuse it. Punishment needs to happen for the stuff that he's done, and he realizes that. And I think that's why he took the helmet and he put the helmet on, realizing that this is what I am. This is whatever my goals are, it's not that I'm a bad guy, it's just that this is what needs to be done. I think that's what is in his head right now. So to see in issue 3 where that goes. And also, I really enjoyed the fact that I never really thought that the X-Men don't really show up with the Avengers because the X-Men are mutants. Who knows how many of the Avengers are still prejudiced? They could be prejudiced. There could be, Tony Stark might be like, but mutants, that's stupid. You know what I mean? So it's very cool. We're going to get to that in the third one. As you can see, there's number 1 back on the wall. There's number 2, and we're going to work on number 3. But this is really good, and right now, like I said, everybody's just keeping an eye on Magneto. X-Men have Magneto on their Blackbird, and the Avengers are just watching. And I don't really know what happened to the Soviets. They seem to just kind of drown out in the background. I believe they were just there to show that some people don't want the justice, they just want to kill. The Avengers want a trial, Soviets want to kill, and the X-Men want to protect, because there's no way that any other person that isn't a mutant is going to understand that maybe there is mercy that needs for Magneto. That one, it's like the Hulk. The more mad that you make the Hulk, the more damage he's going to do. So I think that's what the X-Men kind of fear with Magneto. What's going to happen when he's just constantly pushed to be the supervillain? We don't want to accept your surrender. We don't want to accept that you're not trying to destroy stuff. And that's where we're at. Sorry I lost my train of thought there, but I got it back. And that was number 2 of the X-Men versus the Avengers. We'll get to number 3. I'm very excited to do so. This has been Comics Off My Wall. I'm Jake. Have a great day.